Hey y'all, Stephanie here. Welcome back to my channel. I am in the van. It is getting dark out, so my lighting won't be great. I am waiting for the boys to be done football practice, and it was too cold for me to stay out there. So thought I'd hop in here and make a video. I think this is going to have to be like a series of videos I'm going to do on this because I don't have a whole lot of time. But I mentioned in my last video, which was 10 things to prepare your heart and home for the addition of another child. I mentioned in there about savoring the fact that we get to give our kids their childhood. And someone suggested I make a video on that. I had already thought I wanted to make a video on that because even as I was talking about it in that video, I thought, oh my gosh, I could just dive into this so much. So what I mean by that is we all know childhood is important. And I think a lot of times when we think about childhood being important, we're thinking about how all the things that we have to teach our kids. And if we're Christian parents, especially all of the shepherding and discipling that goes into being a mother. And that can be very daunting, and that can be very heavy and weighty, and there can feel like a lot of decisions on what we let our kids see and watch and do. And there's this whole side of motherhood, and that is a side of motherhood, and that is an important part of giving our kids their childhood, you know, that we're watchful and careful and aware and, you know, all of those things. But then there's this other side of giving our kids their childhood. And I mentioned this in that video that, like, we are their mom. And out of all the relationships you'll have in your life, your mom is a huge one. And I mean, studies show the impact a good mother has on her children is one of the most impactful relationships they will have in their entire life, if not the most, right? Next to maybe like marriage. Not to knock dads, but it's really important to be a good mom. And I think there's so many moms that maybe haven't experienced that with their own mother or haven't seen a lot of that you can come into motherhood and kind of struggle with that side of how important this role is, that it's not just that we homeschool or clean the house or go to work or do the carpool line or whatever, but the tenderness and the nurturing side of the fact that we get to be somebody's mom, it's beautiful. And I don't like to use the word magical as in like magic, but there's so much delight in what we get to do. We get to make their childhood. The memories that we want our kids to have for all the years to come, the tenderness that we want our kids to have experienced and savored, we're the ones that get to choose to give that to them. So if we want to have a family that has pancakes every Saturday morning and our kids know that, we get to choose to do that. And if we're the mom that wants to decorate big for Christmas every year or go look at Christmas lights, if we're the mom that wants our children to have the memory that when they got scared at night, they always knew they could go to mom and she'd comfort them and pray with them, we get to do that. Like all of these things, besides all the mundane tasks, we're the ones that get to carve out what we want our kids to have for memories, what we want that memory bank to be full of, what we want them to think of when they think of these really wonderful words that we associate with mom. We get to make that for our kids. And I think that's huge, and I think it's wonderful, and I think it's like encouraging, and it gives you like a passion and a purpose when motherhood isn't just about these tasks and doing these things, but it's also about the life that we're creating for somebody. Because kids don't get to choose what they're eating for dinner every night, and they don't choose the habits of the home, and they don't choose the tone of the home, and they don't choose the decorations in the home. And all of these things are something that if we're homemakers, if we're the mom in the house, that's what we're choosing. And we're cultivating a culture for our children that is their childhood. And you don't get to do a childhood again. You know, if you change careers from your 20s to your 30s, like you have that option, you can change and do things different. But childhood is a one-time go, and we're the ones that get to make that so special and so wonderful for our children. And so I know that's an encouragement to me. I mentioned in that video making a Momvision list of the memories you want your kids to have, and they can be big and grand down to the little bit that you want your kids to remember that mom smiled at them when she looked at them most of the time, or that mom played with them, or that mom was really terrible at catching the football but she still tried. Whatever those memories are, being as specific or as broad as you want, giving yourself a vision and a purpose in motherhood, I think can be an extremely encouraging thing to give you passion and purpose in your motherhood. And so I'm going to carry this on in a part 2 because my kids, I think, are done, and I will talk to y'all then. Bye.